Justice is always being served here. Crime and Punishment with Mike McIntyre on the Chorus Radio Network.
We are back. Do have to take another break here in just a few seconds. Coming up in the final half hour, we will open the phone lines 1-800-665-2202. But first, we will head out to BC. The mystery of a missing woman, suspicion that she's fallen victim to human trafficking, and the efforts by her mother, who will join us to not only raise awareness about her disappearance, but that of other Canadian victims. That and much, much more coming up in our final half hour. Stay tuned.
The straight and narrow on the crime scene. Crime and Punishment with Mike McIntyre will return on the Chorus Radio Network.
When you're running from one end of the kitchen to the next, meal prep can be a hassle. Imagine if your kitchen was designed for the way you live. With a kitchen from Springfield Colony Woodworking Kitchen and Bath, it will be. Our team can create a unique custom kitchen that not only looks great, but is functional, so you can spend less time working and more time relaxing. Get high-quality kitchens and bath cabinetry from Springfield Colony Woodworking. Call 204-222-8797 for a consultation today, or visit our showroom at 893A Redonda. Check out our website at springfieldwoodworking.com.
This is 680 CJOB, Winnipeg's news and information leader. Now, from the Pizza Hotline News Center.
Good evening, I'm Barry Hansen at 8:30. It's 4, wind, and more wind, but will it end? Details following news and sports. Defense Minister Rob Nichols says he will not say if Canada will stick to its agenda to wind up an air offensive in northern Iraq in 6 months. MPs are expected to vote tomorrow on the Conservative government's decision to join allies in airstrikes against the extremist group ISIS. The opposition NDP and Liberals have indicated they will not support the plan. In an interview with CTV's Question Period, Nicholson stressed that the motion before Parliament would commit Canada's CF-18 fighters to a maximum of 6 months, but he stopped short of promising that would be the end of Canada's military involvement.
We always have to assess what we're doing, and the resolution is up to 6 months. And so, again, these things are never perfect, but again, we're on the right track, and we're supportive of. I think there's up to 60 countries now that are supportive of this.
The cool temperatures couldn't keep thousands of runners from lacing up their shoes and running for a great cause. Shaw Park was a sea of pink this morning for the CIBC Run for the Cure to support breast cancer research. Denise Veer was one of the 5,000 taking part. She beat breast cancer and spoke with 680 CJOB.
I've been cancer-free for 6 years, so it's still hard to understand what you went through, but no, it gets better all the time.
Runs took place all across the prairies and Northwest Territories to date and raised money. The money raised goes to the Breast Cancer Foundation. Brian Bowman says it's not a battle for the right, but a race to earn the respect of all Winnipeggers across the spectrum. The mayoral hopeful was responding to comments made by Gord Steeves that he is the only right-of-centre candidate in the race for the top job at City Hall. However, Bowman tells 680 CJOB that Steeves has it all wrong.
I've been pounding progressive conservative lawn signs since I was 14 years old, and I would suggest he may want to ask Gary and Janice Bowman why they're supporting my campaign.
Bowman held a rally today at his headquarters and said his campaign is gaining momentum. However, he still sits a distant second in the most recent poll behind Judy Washley-Solis. Rainy weather meant fewer fires in northern Manitoba and Manitoba in general this past summer. Manitoba Conservation Fire Manager Gary Friesen has the numbers.
We've got 239 fires on the books to date right now, and normal to this date we'd have 478, so that's about half.
Friesen says there were busy moments like fires near Lac Brochet, Lynn Lake, Norway House, and firefighters were able to take control of the fires without causing too much damage. CJOB News Time is 8:32.
680 CJOB Sports.
In Major League Baseball, Baltimore defeated Detroit 2-1 to take their series, and Kansas City is playing the LA Angels. The Royals are leading that game 5-1 after 3. Kansas could wrap up their series with a win tonight. In the NFL, there are 13 games complete with just one more tonight where New England plays host to Cincinnati. The Patriots are leading 14-0 in the second quarter. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers should be sending thanks to the BC Lions after their loss yesterday to the Hamilton Tiger Cats. The Blue and Gold are still in the playoff hunt, just 2 points back of a playoff spot. News on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks on 680 CJOB.
Because I couldn't control how much I drank. My ex-wife won't let me see my children anymore.
Because I drink too much, my friends won't talk to me anymore.
Because I couldn't control my drinking, I can't get a job anywhere.
Because I drank too much, my parents don't want anything to do with me.
I lost everything that was important to me in my life because I had one too many drinks. Don't let alcohol take over your life. Drink responsibly.
680 CJOB weather.
Cloudy conditions will continue tonight with wind gusting 40 to 60. It should die down overnight and a low of 3. For tomorrow, showers ending in the morning, wind northwest 20, gusting to 40 and a high of 8. And for Tuesday, cloudy with a high of 8. It's 4 at 680 CJOB.
Justice is always being served here. Crime and Punishment with Mike McIntyre on the Chorus Radio Network.
Welcome back to the program. Mike McIntyre with you. The parents of a missing U.S. college student are reaching out and asking the public not to forget their daughter. ABC's Daria Albinger has that story. And just having a little audio problem with that. We'll get that to you shortly. It was a tie-in to our next guest because the issue of a missing student, a missing young woman, is certainly something our next guest can relate to. Her daughter, Jessie Foster, has been missing for a number of years. Jessie was last seen in Las Vegas, and her family suspects that Jessie has fallen victim to a predator who may have targeted her based on the issue, and it's an issue that is certainly getting increasing knowledge and awareness here in Canada. Human trafficking. We're seeing more and more cases, more and more awareness, and much of that is thanks to our next guest, Glendene Grant, who is the mother of Jessie Foster, and Glendene has certainly been on the front lines of raising awareness about not only Jessie's case, but also the issues surrounding it. Now, Jessie, originally from Kamloops, British Columbia, she went to Las Vegas, arriving in May 2005. Jessie became involved with a man named Peter Todd, who certainly treated her to a lavish lifestyle, waved a lot of money around, and certainly gave the impression that he was rich beyond his means and was a high flyer on the Vegas scene. Now, Jessie would last speak with her sister back in March 2006. That's over 8 years ago. Never heard from again. Peter Todd, of course, would attract some suspicion once Jessie vanished. He spoke with police, claims that she left him in April of 2006, days after she last spoke to her sister, and says he has no idea where she went. It's a claim that certainly Jessie's family doesn't believe. LVPD, that's Las Vegas Police, also discovered that Todd was certainly living beyond his means, that he really had no way to support the kind of high-class lifestyle he was living. $500,000 home. So how was he making his money? A lot of folks believe he was pimping out young women such as Jessie Foster. A lot of folks believe he knows a lot more about Jessie's disappearance than he has let on. We are pleased to welcome back Glendene Grant to the program. She's been on our show several times. It's been a few years, I think, since we talked. Glendene, welcome back.
Thank you for having me, Mike. I appreciate talking with you again.
Absolutely. Always good to touch base. I wish one of these days, of course, that we'd be talking about a real breakthrough in the case. Now, that being said, to sort of start with, I guess, the most recent news, Glendene, and that is, and I don't even know at this point how you deal. I was going to call it a scare, that you got this past week with the possibility that there could be a breakthrough. But I don't know. I mean, how do you treat nowadays whenever a possible lead sort of emerges? What sort of emotions greet you? Anxiety, fear, all of that? It must be a real mix.
It is, but there's the one thing that you probably remember that I have always believed is that Jesse's still alive. So the fact that I strongly believe that, I don't get too down by these types of tips, even though the outcome, if it is her, is obviously the worst possible one. So I just try to stay level.
Right.
People close to me know what's going on. People who don't, they wouldn't even know that I was on what is actually termed by people in the missing world as a body watch. And they wouldn't even guess that from looking at me. I'll tell you what a body watch is, Mike. A body watch is when there's a body found either in the area where there's a missing person or a possibility that your missing person is found somewhere else. You go on this high alert, and it kind of has stages. And the first stage is they usually can determine if it's a male or a female pretty quickly. And so everybody who has a missing male, when it's a missing female, they can all start breathing again. Everybody else stays until,
sure.
you know.
Well, and just to give our listeners a little more detail about what this possible development this past week was, in Illinois, I guess, three-dimensional reconstruction images is the best way to put it, were released by Illinois State Police regarding a Jane Doe who was discovered back in October of last year, so just over a year ago, or about a year ago. And you look at the pictures, these 3D models, Glendene Grand, and it's hard to deny that there is some resemblance. Some might say strong resemblance to your daughter, Jessie Foster. So no doubt when you saw these recreations, your heart must almost stop to see that. But then again, as you mentioned, they've now ruled that out because they were able to do a DNA test, right?
Right, DNA and dental match did not match Jessie, so they ruled her out. And you're right, but it is a striking resemblance, and many people thought it was, but there was some small things that if you really knew Jessie and what to look for, you could not say for sure that you thought it was it. Now, the first thing that stood out to me was I didn't think that the teeth matched. And Diana Chepkov, who is Canada's leading forensic artist, and she's done several reconstructions of Jessie over the years, and she said the same thing. She said, those are not Jessie's teeth. I've studied her teeth enough. Plus Jessie's height, she's a bit taller than this woman was.
Right. Even
though the sergeant I talked to, he said that they measured her, when they found this Jane Doe, it was just a skeleton. So they measured her as a skeleton. They could be out by a little bit with her height. So I thought, okay, that one might be, but those just were Jessie's teeth. But you look at the, especially one of the profile pictures, my daughter Crystal, even now knowing that is not her sister, she still gets chills when she looks at it because it's such a strong resemblance.
For sure.
So this is the closest one ever for our family.
And as you say, Glendene, no doubt a mix of emotions, but certainly relief in the sense that this was not confirmed as being Jessie, because of course this is dealing with the discovery of a deceased individual. At the same time, I guess, and I know you've come to know so many other families, so many other mothers, siblings, parents, fathers who are just like you in a position of wondering what happened to their loved one. I guess realizing that this isn't Jessie, at the same time you come to the realization, well, this is somebody else's daughter who are probably just like me, wondering where their loved one is. And so the realization that there's another family obviously suffering out there.
Oh, that's really got me in turmoil. I mean, I would actually like to be able to have a chance to communicate with the family once they've found out, been for sure, and had given them, proper time, obviously, because if this young woman's skeleton was found in October of last year, then that means she was missing for some time,
right,
prior to that. So they're living my nightmare also. And I like to communicate and just touch base with any family going through this that I can.
We have to take a quick break, but much more ahead with our guest, Glendene Grant. She is the mother of Jesse Foster, who has been missing since 2006. Jesse is from British Columbia, was living in Calgary, and then disappeared while down in Las Vegas under certainly suspicious circumstances. As you heard, Glendene Grant certainly holding out the hope and the belief that her daughter is still alive all these years later. And they got another possible lead this past week that ended up being a false alarm. We'll take a quick break. Much more still ahead. Stay with us.
Crime and Punishment on the Chorus Radio Network.
When you're serious about buying a pre-owned vehicle, you've seriously got to check out Winnipeg's largest inventory of pre-owned vehicles at Birchwood Chevrolet Buick GMC. They've got over 300 vehicles with different makes, models, and prices that are made to fit your lifestyle. Don't bother hunting high and low for a car that doesn't exist. Come find what you're looking for. Go to birchwoodused.ca to check out the #1 pre-owned dealer in Winnipeg.
He's truly one of the most accomplished men on Earth.
2, 1, 0.
And off it. Astronaut Chris Hadfield, commander of the International Space Station, is making a rare appearance on Monday, December 1st at the Centennial Concert Hall. Arguably, the most popular astronaut since Neil Armstrong. Chris Hadfield will share his remarkable life story live at the Centennial Concert Hall. For tickets, visit Ticketmaster.ca. Proudly sponsored by 680 CJOB and the Winnipeg Free Press.
Hello, gorgeous. Yes, we're talking to you. You are beautiful. We mean it. Now you say it. I am beautiful. Learn to embrace your beautiful self. As women, we need to love ourselves first. Join us in a journey of love and beauty, pure and natural. Just one step at a time at One Great Spa by Giselle's. Love yourself, change the world. Call today, 204-253-0900 or visit onegreatspa.com.
I've heard other people's kids smoke pot and then drive high.
Other people's kids don't care about making our streets unsafe.
Luckily, my teenager isn't like that. She's responsible.
It goes without saying, she'd never drive high.
Other people's kids, though, you just never know what they're capable of.
Actually, it's not just other people's kids. 40% of youths have driven while high. Learn more at CanadaDrugFree.org. A message from the Partnership for a Drug-Free Canada.
Hey, bonehead! It's you from the future. Junior's braces are putting us in the poorhouse because you said I wouldn't need benefits.
You think that's bad? Just wait until we have to move into Junior's basement because we don't have a pension to collect.
What? No pension either. You're such a bonehead.
Hi, I'm Victor Silva. If your employer doesn't have benefits and a pension plan, you need to contact us at the Construction and Specialized Workers Union, Local 1258, and keep yourself out of Junior's basement.
If you are about to go through a divorce, you need to know the alternatives to the traditional adversarial approach. Consider Fairway Divorce Solutions. You pay a flat fee, you don't face legal battles, you negotiate independently, your children are protected from conflict, and you're free to make a fresh start. At Fairway Divorce Solutions, we are offering you a timely, independent, negotiated resolution for a flat fee.
From separation, prenuptial, and cohabitation plans. Learn more at fairwaydivorce.com.
There was the traditional way, now there is the fair way.
When you're running from one end of the kitchen to the next, meal prep can be a hassle. Imagine if your kitchen was designed for the way you live. With a kitchen from Springfield Colony Woodworking Kitchen and Bath, it will be. Our team can create a unique custom kitchen that not only looks great, but is functional, so you can spend less time working and more time relaxing. Get high-quality kitchens and bath cabinetry from Springfield Colony Woodworking. Call 204-222-8797 for a consultation today, or visit our showroom at 893A Redonda. Check out our website at springfieldwoodworking.com.
680 CJOB weather.
Tonight's cloudy, wind at northwest, gusting to 60, becoming light late this evening, low +3. Tomorrow cloudy, a few showers beginning early in the morning, wind at northwest, gusting to 50, high 8. Tomorrow night, cloudy, wind at northwest, gusting to 50, becoming light early in the evening, low +4. Tuesday, cloudy, high 8. Currently, it's 5 degrees at 680 CJOB.
Justice is always being served here. Crime and Punishment with Mike McIntyre on the Chorus Radio Network.
Welcome back to the program. Mike McIntyre with you, continuing our conversation with Glendene Grant. Her daughter, Jessie Foster, vanished without a trace back in 2006 from Las Vegas. Jessie, originally from British Columbia and Calgary, was down in Las Vegas and certainly associated at the time with what has turned out to be a very shady individual named Peter Todd, who claims that he has no idea where Jessie went, that she upped and left him. They were engaged, in fact, at the time of the disappearance, and it has certainly now come to be known that Peter Todd was essentially working in the sex trade, living well above his means. And the issue of human trafficking is certainly one that is now very much in the conversation as it relates not only to Jessie Foster, but the case of other Canadians as well. And a lot of that can be credited to our guest, Glendene Grant. Glendene, safe to say that even just 5 years ago, if you ask most Canadians what human trafficking is, most would have probably given you a funny look because it just wasn't something in the national conversation. But thanks to people like yourself, that has changed. There is more awareness now than ever. Obviously, a lot of work to be done. But I know you are really on the front lines of bringing awareness to the issue of human trafficking and the fact that you truly believe Jessie was a victim.
Yes. Well, I do believe she was a victim. I mean, she was taken down to Las Vegas by a Canadian man, left down there with another Canadian and an American woman. And then before you can even blink your eyes, she's handed over to Peter Todd, who turned out to be a violent pimp known by the Las Vegas Metro Vice Squad and the pandering team. And then when she tried to come home, she went missing. Well, the first thing we found out when she went missing after hiring a private investigator is, like you say, in May of 2005, she was taken there. In June of 2005, she'd already been beaten and hospitalized with a broken jaw and arrested for solicitation of prostitution and forced to work at an escort agency. So all of those things and the speed with which it happened and the things that I found out early on through Professor Benjamin Perrin, who wrote a book on human trafficking, Invisible Chains, Canada's Underground World of Human Trafficking, it was like a textbook case. Where I thought Jessie at one time was one in a million people who had this happen to her, it came to light very early on that she was one of millions of people that this was happening to. Canada was not immune. And since then, we've been so lucky to have Joy Smith, MP Joy Smith, a Manitoba MP in the Glendene area, have passed 2 bills into law that have changed how human trafficking, when it hits the courts and sentencing. And we now have Bill C-36 that is actually just waiting to go to the final reading, or the final stage. It's going to go to Senate. They're going to decide. And that's the Protection of Communities and Exploited Persons Act. That's going to take place of any anti-human trafficking or lack of laws that we have in Canada by the end of the year. And so many changes have been made. And yes, I have been very mouthy and active.
I wouldn't say mouthy.
Well, I say the mouthy part because it started because it's the mother in me that did this. And the mother bear, doesn't just talk from afar. They try to wrap their paws around their cubs and swing and get whatever's in their way. So that's all I meant by that. But yeah, Jessie could be found and come home tomorrow, alive or not. And this is something that I will continue to do. I guess it hit me, and not very long ago either, after all these years of doing this. But this is probably the reason why I'm even here on Earth, if you want to get technical. I mean, I always thought, I was here on Earth to have these 4 beautiful children and reproduce and all these things. And now I realize that, it was a much bigger thing. It's even bigger than Jessie and myself. Like, sure. I could not even take back what we've done by wishing this didn't happen anymore, because it's gotten so big and so important, and all because of Jessie. I just look at her as she's not just my missing daughter to me, but because of what happened to her, she's the bravest person I know in this whole entire world. for what she's endured, what she endured right up until March 29th. We know pretty much, if not specific details. And I know that she took it and didn't tell us and lived with all that happening because she thought she was protecting us, which is what human trafficking victims do. They are so brainwashed and so threatened and so beaten down that the force is not a locked door anymore like it was with the women in Cleveland. It's more like, you leave, we'll grab your sister. You leave, we'll grab your friend. You leave, we'll harm your family.
Right.
So it's a whole different type of lock on the door. And so she did what she did and took what she did until she disappeared to protect us. And whatever happened to her after, whether she, like I keep saying, whether she's alive or not, she did it all for us. And to me, that makes her the bravest person in the world. And, you know, when we finally do get this bill to pass it, and it has to pass because, you know what, we cannot have prostitution, pimping, pandering, body houses, which are brothels. We can't have all that popping up all over Canada legally and having people forced to apply, otherwise they can't get unemployment insurance because they haven't applied everywhere in town, and all these horrific things that could come from, you know, prostitution being legal. It just couldn't happen. Canada just isn't prepared for something like that. So we're pretty confident this bill's going to pass.
Excellent. Well, we're going to have to leave it there for now, Glendene Grant, but certainly we will touch base again very soon, and we wish you all the best as you continue to fight the good fight, and hopefully the next time there is news on your daughter's front, it is good news, and we'll be watching for that. Glendene Grant joining us tonight from British Columbia. We'll take our final break back to wrap things up.